The dream was alive, and for a moment, it felt unstoppable. When Luka arrived in Los Angeles, Lakers fans believed that 2025 could be the year for something historic. The perfect combination: the raw brilliance of Luka, the timeless leadership of LeBron James, and the aura of a franchise built on banners and legends. Leave your like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any updates. But reality, as it often does in the playoffs, has been brutally unforgiving. After a heart-wrenching 116-113 loss to the Minnesota Timberwolves in Game 4, the Lakers now find themselves on the brink of elimination. The series stands at 3-1, and every mistake, every missed opportunity, now weighs heavier than ever. Game 4 didn't just expose the Lakers' weaknesses, it magnified them. Throughout the second half, head coach J.J. Reddick made the bold decision to stick with his starters. No substitutions. No fresh legs off the bench. He bet everything on the guys who got him there. But as the clock ticked away, it became clear, the tank was running on empty. LeBron James, the man who has made a career out of owning the clutch moments, was unusually quiet when it mattered most. Instead of orchestrating comebacks, he stood waiting in the corner, watching possessions slip away. In the final 12 minutes of the game, crunch time, LeBron didn't score a single point. It was a stunning sight for Lakers fans. Not because LeBron didn't try, but because the body, after decades of wear and war, sometimes just refuses to obey. Still, even exhausted, the Lakers fought. They led through most of the second half. They controlled the pace. They dictated the tempo. But then, a bad pass here, a blown coverage there, a missed rebound. Little by little, Minnesota crept back into the game, and once they seized momentum, they never let go. Speaking with Mike Trudell after the game, LeBron kept his message simple: focus on the next task. When asked about how he had come back from 3-1 deficits before, he didn't bring up stats. He didn't reminisce. He simply said, "You think about the next game. That's it. One game at a time." Reflecting on the painful finish, LeBron added, "Big play after big play. They made a few more than we did. And that's the difference." At this stage, it's hard to deny, Minnesota looks like the sharper, deeper team. Their second unit has been rock solid, giving their starters critical rest without sacrificing momentum. Their defensive rotations have been tight. Their offense, patient but deadly. They're not just playing with talent, they're playing with chemistry, with belief. But if there's one thing the NBA playoffs have taught us, it's that no series is ever truly over until the final buzzer sounds. Upsets happen. Legends are written. And teams that refuse to die can become immortal. The Lakers are heading back home to Los Angeles, back to the bright lights, back to the roaring crowd at Crypto.com Arena. And standing at the heart of it all, still fighting, still believing, is LeBron James. If history has shown us anything, it's that you can never count him out when the stakes are at their highest. Los Angeles has seen miracles before. And now, the Lakers are counting on one more. Another massive storyline from this series has been the Lakers' struggle to protect the rim. Without a true shot blocker anchoring the paint, the team has turned to the one man who has been everything for them over the years, LeBron James. At 40 years old, LeBron is being asked to carry the offense alongside Luka, while simultaneously protecting the paint on defense. It's an impossible task for most players. But this is LeBron. Even so, asking a player of his age and mileage to play both ends at this level, night after night, is not sustainable. You can see the wear during defensive rotations. You can see it when he contests shots at the rim and then struggles to get back on offense. In his prime, LeBron was one of the most dominant defenders the league had ever seen, a freight train who could guard all 5 positions, erase mistakes, and change the course of a game with a single block or steal. Many still believe he was unfairly denied a Defensive Player of the Year award during those years. Today, though the mind remains razor-sharp, the legs tell a different story. And yet, because the Lakers have no better option, LeBron embraces the burden, another sacrifice in a career defined by selflessness and will. As we look ahead to Game 5, the stakes could not be clearer. This is not just a game about basketball skills. It's a test of heart, of spirit, of whether the Lakers can dig deeper than they ever have before. It's about whether Luka, still searching for his first true playoff breakthrough, can rise alongside a living legend. It's about whether role players can step up when their team needs them most. It's about fighting for every possession, every loose ball, every inch of the court. Because now, every minute counts. Every second matters. One slip, and the season is over. But one spark, one incredible performance, and the narrative could change overnight. The Lakers have been doubted before. LeBron has been doubted before. And time after time, they've answered in the only language that matters, by winning when nobody believed they could. Game 5 isn't just a battle for survival. It's a chance to remind the world exactly who they are. The stage is set. The lights are blinding. The pressure is crushing. Now, it's time to find out if the heart of a champion still beats in purple and gold. Head coach J.J. Reddick made a choice that no coach had ever made before in NBA playoff history. He chose not to make a single substitution during the entire second half. Not one. Despite the outcome, a heartbreaking loss that pushed the Lakers into a 3-1 hole in the series, Reddick stood firm after the game. He had no regrets. Speaking at the post-game press conference, he explained that the move wasn't premeditated. It wasn't something the team had worked on in practice or discussed in strategy meetings. It was a spontaneous decision, born out of the moment, at halftime. Reddick looked into the eyes of his 5 players, Luka Doncic, Austin Reeves, Dorian Finney-Smith, LeBron James, and Rui Hachimura, and he saw determination. He saw commitment. And when he asked if they were willing to push through without resting, they all said yes. Once you make that decision, Reddick said, and everyone buys in, you just have to trust them. Those guys laid everything out there on the floor. And trust them he did. At the start of the fourth quarter, Reddick once again gave them a choice. He checked in, asked if anyone needed a breather, asked if anyone needed a moment to recharge. No one, not a single player, raised their hand. They were all in. Doncic, Reeves, Finney-Smith, LeBron, and Hachimura went to battle for 24 straight minutes, showing grit, heart, and an iron will. Finney-Smith, who had come off the bench earlier to replace Jackson Hayes, seamlessly blended into the group, completing a 5-man lineup that carried the hopes of an entire franchise. But why did Reddick roll the dice this way? Beyond the players' willingness, it was the momentum, or rather, the desperate need to reclaim it. Before halftime, the Lakers had been hit with a brutal run, a 12-3 spurt by the Timberwolves that erased their early advantage and sent them into the locker room down by 3. Reddick sensed that a shift was needed, that the usual rotations and fresh legs wouldn't be enough. He needed cohesion. He needed chemistry. He needed trust. And in that moment, he bet everything on his 5 warriors. To start the second half, the plan worked. The Lakers came out firing, outscoring Minnesota 36-23 in the third quarter. They regained control. They built a 10-point lead heading into the final 12 minutes. The crowd was roaring. The energy was back. The dream was alive. But basketball is a game of runs, and a game of endurance. And as the fourth quarter wore on, it became painfully clear, the price for that gamble was exhaustion. The Timberwolves, deeper, fresher, and more balanced, seized the opportunity. They pushed the tempo. They crashed the boards. They pounced on every loose ball. Meanwhile, the Lakers' offense sputtered. Legs grew heavier. Shots came up short. Defensive rotations were a step slower. LeBron James, playing over 41 minutes, gave everything he had, but even he, the man who seemed to defy time and age, looked human in those final moments. Luka Doncic, battling through pain and fatigue, kept trying to create magic, but the shots just wouldn't fall. Rui Hachimura fought for rebounds, Dorian Finney-Smith battled on defense, Austin Reeves tried to stretch the floor, but the gas tank was empty. By the time the final buzzer sounded, the Lakers had made just 5 of their 18 field goal attempts in the fourth quarter. Meanwhile, the Timberwolves closed the game with the same type of deadly 12-3 run that had haunted LA before halftime, except this time, it ended the game. Final score, Timberwolves 116, Lakers 113. It wasn't just a loss. It was a punch to the gut. LeBron, Doncic, and Hachimura all crossed the 41-minute mark. Finney-Smith, coming off the bench, logged 40 minutes. Reeves, who had picked up 3 fouls early and sat briefly in the first half, finished with 35 minutes. There was simply nothing left in the tank. Looking back, some might criticize Reddick's decision. Some might argue that fresher legs could have made the difference in those closing minutes. That a few substitutions here or there could have preserved the lead, could have extended the series with a pivotal win. But in that moment, Reddick believed in his players. And they believed in each other. Sometimes in sports, decisions aren't made on a whiteboard. They aren't the result of analytics or algorithms. Sometimes they're made in the locker room, heart to heart, man to man. Sometimes you trust your gut, and you trust your team. Now, the Lakers find themselves facing the impossible, a 3-1 deficit against a confident, well-oiled Timberwolves squad. The next game will be back in Los Angeles, where the purple and gold faithful will pack the arena, hoping for one more spark of magic from a team that's running on heart, soul, and the legendary will of LeBron James. Can the Lakers dig deep one more time? Can they summon the energy to fight off elimination? Or will Game 4's gamble be remembered not as a symbol of trust and courage, but as the moment the 2025 playoff dream slipped away? One thing is certain, the story isn't over yet. And if there's one thing we know about LeBron James, Luka and this Lakers team, it's that they'll fight to the very last second. The Los Angeles Lakers have been riding a wave of momentum lately, with Luka and LeBron James delivering some truly spectacular performances. Night after night, these two superstars have carried the team on their backs, giving fans plenty of reasons to believe that a deep playoff run is possible. But even with all their brilliance, there's no denying the obvious. The Lakers are dangerously thin beyond their stars. And if they truly want to compete against the elite teams out west, squads like the Denver Nuggets, the Minnesota Timberwolves, and the Oklahoma City Thunder, they'll need more firepower. That's why the idea of trading for another major piece, specifically Utah Jazz forward Lauri Markkanen, is quickly gaining traction among fans, analysts, and even some insiders. The answer became crystal clear during Game 2. As Dean Simon from the Sporting News put it, the Lakers could pull off a blockbuster move to pair and James with another dynamic offensive force. And Markkanen might just be the perfect fit. It's clear the Lakers would have to offer a serious package to convince the Jazz to let go of one of their best players. Here's a possible scenario that's been making the rounds. Lakers receive Lauri Markkanen. Jazz receive Rui Hachimura, Maxi Kleber, Jared Vanderbilt, Dalton Knecht, the 17th overall pick, and a future first-round pick. From the Jazz's perspective, this deal has plenty of appeal. They get two solid role players on manageable contracts, a promising rookie in Knecht who has tremendous upside, and another valuable first-round pick to use in their ongoing rebuild. Plus, with Hachimura and Vanderbilt having expiring or team-friendly deals, Utah would keep its financial flexibility moving forward. First of all, Lauri Markkanen is in his prime at just 27 years old. Although his numbers dipped slightly this season, averaging 19 points and 5.9 rebounds per game, it's important to remember the context. He was playing for a Utah Jazz team that is clearly rebuilding and not exactly prioritizing winning games. If we rewind just one season, in 2022-23, Markkanen posted a sensational 25.6 points per game while shooting 39% from beyond the arc. He was an absolute nightmare for defenses, and there's no reason to believe he couldn't regain that form in a more competitive environment alongside elite playmakers like and James. Markkanen's strengths are tailor-made for what the Lakers need. Elite shooting. He's a career 37% shooter from three, which is exactly the kind of spacing you need when you have two ball-dominant stars in Luka and LeBron. Size and versatility. At 7 feet tall, Markkanen can play both the small forward and power forward positions. He stretches the floor, finishes lobs, and can even put the ball on the deck when necessary. Defensive potential. While he's not a lockdown defender, his length and mobility make him a capable team defender, something the Lakers can certainly work with in their system. Why would the Jazz even consider moving him? At first glance, it might seem crazy for Utah to part ways with a player of Markkanen's caliber. But if you look closer, it makes a lot of sense. The Jazz are deep into a rebuilding phase. They have a promising core of young players, and trading Markkanen now, while his value is sky-high, could accelerate their timeline. Adding a high-upside rookie like Dalton Knecht, a future first-round pick, and a pair of flexible contracts gives them the ammunition they need to continue stockpiling assets for the future. Plus, by moving Markkanen, they avoid having to make a massive financial commitment down the road, one that might not align with their current rebuild plans. For the Lakers, absolutely. Adding Markkanen would instantly create one of the NBA's most dangerous big threes, with LeBron, and Lauri. It would give them three legitimate offensive weapons, all capable of taking over games, and it would ease the burden that's currently falling too heavily on Luka and LeBron's shoulders. For the Jazz, it's a strategic move to continue building for the long term. They recognize that keeping Markkanen doesn't guarantee contention anytime soon. So why not cash in and secure a brighter future? Of course, trades like this are never simple. Salaries have to match, draft protections might come into play, and there's always the risk that another team swoops in with a better offer. But if Rob Pelinka and the Lakers front office can pull it off, this could be the move that changes everything. Not just for this season, but for the next several years. So here's the big question. If you were Rob Pelinka, would you make this trade? Would you gamble on forming a new Big Three to chase another championship? Or would you stay patient and trust the current core to get it done? Let us know your thoughts, and buckle up, Lakers Nation. Things could be getting very, very interesting.